So good night, that is okay. What we do is I will begin and then we could do a review at the end. Okay? So we're going to be logging into the QuickBooks Online into it. Do you have the link to log in?
I didn't hear you, Troy. Sorry.
You have the you're able to still log in, right? I didn't see you're able to get into Google Classroom.
What the Google Classrooms? Were you talking about trying to make QuickBooks? Let me get my email. I only see something. I only see the basic one in here. I gotta click this right in my email.
Yeah, you should see the advanced. Do you see the advanced one?
I gotta click from that in my email before. Now we're trying to ask you. I only send the basic one away when I went in the classroom.
Okay. You're not seeing the
You just
advanced.
send me a link from the
for the advanced, yes.
right in my email.
Yes. But what I will do is that I will put the link as well for the classroom so that let me just right.
In the last email that I have here is saying hello tonight prayer. I wish you well. Join us for the Zoom meeting. I see 2 Zoom meeting links. Right?
Yes. Yeah.
I see 2 Zoom meeting links. I didn't see. Now I have to log into my classroom.
Alright, I'm working on a link now for the Craig design and landscaping, and then there's one for so you're still able to use your computer to join, right? You're using your computer. You're on your laptop. Okay.
Yeah.
I believe I sent you the link on the
on the email.
I'm getting it now. I'm checking the classroom to make sure that you have it.
All your teachers, listen. All your teachers have their book, right, Alyssa? When I done here, continue. I'm still not reading. I'm playing that game.
So you can see the link.
The link, you sent it to my email?
You can see two links on the actual meeting. They have the advanced Google Classroom. You saw it at the bottom of the screen in the same meeting.
Yeah.
Click on that link. Because I would have sent you an invite to Stefan AG82@gmail. I see the invite has gone on. You have accepted the invite or something.
I just accepted.
Right, you see it now.
Mm-hmm.
So I added the notes in there for your benefit so that you can go through them. So let's now look at the session for today. So you should be able to see my screen now.
I should be able to see your screen. Mm-hmm.
And the thing is actually loading, right?
I can see your screen.
So when you go into the US version, you will see the ones that you can go through, and there are some live sessions that are coming up that you could take as well. And then I will continue. So we were in the process of doing the sales and customers. So I guess for the benefit of those who are watching and going through, I will go back in and edit the tape or edit the things, but I believe that you can still see my screen or it has popped out. Oh,
I can see your screen still.
right. Right. So I'm sharing this tab now with the meeting I'm going to resume. So far we were looking at the customers, and I know it gone down to projects, but I just want to go back up because we looked at earlier in terms of creating a sub-customer. So the next thing we're going to look at is in terms of projects. I did complete the project, so I guess the sub-customer. So I'm using a project. So projects in QuickBooks Online is a game changer. When we look at profitability and those things, it allows you to present like profitability. And I was discussing with a client about it and what it allows you to do. Like if you have like homes or whatever in terms of the cleaning, you could have one customer but several cleaning houses, like say Massey. So if you're a cleaner for Massey, they have several stores. So you could put each store out as a project and you could test the profitability of each store and cleaning each store because you could assign the employee cost to each store so that you know how profitable it is to in cleaning and in working with that store, right?
Mhm.
So an introduction to the projects is that clients in various sectors can benefit from using projects in QuickBooks Online, and businesses in construction, consultancy, event management, nonprofit monitoring, grant spending, and many more can use this feature to track income costs against the job. So this is why I like it because I myself too run a charity, I have a charity, so it allows me now to monitor that cost and to do certain things with it. So in terms of looking at the projects, what we're going to cover in terms of using projects is that projects provide a dashboard view of the status of all client projects as well as more detailed data on individual projects. The features enable the client to keep track of multiple projects, so you're able to keep track of the multiple projects, activity, access active projects and add transactions to them, categorize each transaction to individual projects. You can track billable and non-billable hours, and there's so much more that you can do. And quickly run key project reports. So this in terms of using projects. So now when we look at using the project feature and sub-customer feature, you see that there's two differences or whatever between using the project, and you can also switch a sub-customer to a project as well. So this is what is so amazing about it.
Yeah.
So you're following so far?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So when we look at using the sub-customers and projects, I was checking to see if we could switch. We see that using the sub-customer feature is helpful when the parent customer is paying all the invoices for all the sub-customers. Although projects don't offer the same hierarchy, they provide a more holistic way of tracking jobs and tend to be appropriate for more complex clients on Plus and Advanced plans. So the projects are available on only the Plus and Advanced plans. So anyone who wants to take advantage of this feature will need to use the Projects Plus and Advanced feature. Okay.
All right.
And then in terms of, I'm just checking to see. Okay, I'm not seeing it here as live, so I just hope that it isn't being pushed out there as live, but I will update it. So in terms of So what's more, the projects feature and sub-customer feature can be used together. You can set up a hierarchy of sub-customers and allocate projects to each sub-customer. So you can have a parent in the same city of Denver where they have the city, so they have police, they have courthouses, and they have school. So their client is a city or a government organization. So under the police can have station one, station two, and then office, remodel, parking, lot bills. So you can add projects, two different projects to each station. See, the courthouse, you can use restroom, retrofit. So it allows you to now add a project. So that is the power of it and what is sweet about it, right? Like, so if we look at the overview of tasks, we see that creating a project, let's look at the overview. So in terms of creating a project, there are several settings to check and options to consider when setting up a project from scratch. And you can also convert a sub-customer to a project. Either way, once set up, you will get a dashboard view status of the status of all of the client projects as well as more details on each individual project. So you could do the
Which one
conversion
wanna
from, okay,
give me a minute. There was it.
okay.
Uh-huh. Moving on. Try. Try. Try.
Yes, I'm here. She got it?
Rosita, no, she got a unstable internet connection,
Okay.
so she can't get it right now.
Okay, well, she can. Let me share with her the link for now. I send her the link directly so that she can come listen to it at least. So that
Oh, okay.
if she needs, I'll share with her directly. So tell her to just use the thing, use the YouTube for now, and I'll just continue and go through everything. I'll share the other links with her after this session. She can,
No problem.
she can get access to the classroom. So I wouldn't keep you too long today.
All right.
So it's not through Zoom, it's through this one here. So I just sent her the YouTube link. So to
All right, no problem.
begin, all right, so I will continue so that, and then just have a pause in the video. So let me just continue. So in the next one, so first tab, we're looking at projects for the benefit of those who just joined. So in terms of creating a project, we look at the project and it has several settings to check and options to consider when setting up a project from scratch. You can also convert a sub-customer to a project. Either way, once set up, you will get a dashboard view of the status of all of the client projects as well as more detailed data on each individual project. The next thing we're going to do is assign income and cost. So once you have created the projects, you can start to add transactions to it so that they can be tracked as part of the project's income and expenses. And three is reporting. So in the project center, under project reports tab, for each project, there are three report lists: profitability, project profitability, retained cost by employee or vendor, and bill time and expenses. If the client has the advance plan and is using projects, there will also be an estimates versus actual reporting tab showing a project profitability by comparing the original estimate cost and the income to the actual value. So those are good things to know. So firstly, we're going to look at creating a project now using the stats in the books. So this is great because you don't have to split from screen to screen here, but at the very end, I'll leave you with an assignment to do, so that you can go through and do the practice doing or creating a project from scratch. So the first thing you look to do is to set up the project in terms of going to the navigation window. So in order to do so, you go into settings gear and select the account settings from the advanced tab, expand projects and switch on the organize all job related activities in one place setting. Note that if you switch on the project feature here, so you'll go in and switch on the feature here, you know, in your books, in QuickBooks Online Accountant, you can turn it off again before you save the settings. You'll see a warning that it's permanent. There are a few additional settings that are often used along with projects, so let's take a look at those. So in addition to doing the project, still in the advanced tab, you want to go now to accounting method. So you want to make sure that you select your accounting method. Can you remember the difference between the accrual basis method and the cash basis method? Stefan?
Uh,
No, okay.
I sure.
Okay,
Oh,
so under
tell you what.
the consider the accounting method being used as it will impact the value shown for our projects. So if you use the cash accounting method, income and expenses will be recorded at the time you actually receive a payment or pay a bill. So if you're using cash basis, you're only going to see the transactions when they're actually paid. But if you use the accrual basis, income and expenses will be recorded when you send the invoice or receive a bill. So that's the difference. So as soon as you send the customer an invoice or you enter an expense or a bill, it will show up if you use the accrual basis. But if you use the cash basis, only when the payment is made, that is when you will see figures showing up in the income and expenses. So I would recommend that you use the accrual basis so that even if the customer hasn't paid the invoice, but you send the invoice to them the same day it would appear. And if you receive a bill for that customer job, once you enter that bill, it will show. Because if you choose the cash basis, you will see that revenue transactions aren't showing in projects, but it's probably because you have it set up under the cash basis instead of the accrual basis, right? So that is what will help, right? So you just go above in the accounting tab. So you move from the projects tab in the advanced tab and on the account settings, and you just go up to the accounting section and select the accrual or the cash basis, whichever one you need to select. Then the next thing you do is to go to the expense tab and expand the bill and expense section. Switch on show items table on expenses and purchase form to add the item details grid to purchase transactions. This setting helps to improve job costing and enable more detailed reporting for reports to be created. So then you go to the expense tab. So the expense tab is found under the sales tab between the sales and the time tab. And then you go to this section which says show item table and you turn that on. And once you track expenses and items by customer, their expenses and items billable, you'll be able to see the option will then show on the bill. So what you're doing by doing this is making it possible for you to add customers and add projects to invoice or a bill that you receive. So next step is step 4 is to switch on track expenses and items by customers to add the customer column on purchase transactions. So projects and sub-customers will be included in the drop-down. So you'll have both projects and in the drop-down, right? And then the step 5 will be switch on make expenses and items billable. If your client is doing a time and materials job, they want this column on the purchase form to mark them billable so that purchases transactions can be included on the invoice. So you want to make expenses and items billable. So all of these things we're doing are turning on. You have any questions?
No,
Okay. But all of these things that we're doing is just turning on the function so that we can assign a customer job or project to on an invoice that we create or a bill that we create. Okay?
all right.
So then it gives you in step 6 now progress invoicing. So create multiple partial invoice for a single estimate. And this will be good in the construction industry where you will do partial billing for clients. So you may charge a person 300,000 to build a house or whatever, but they're going to pay you by drawdowns in amounts, either 20% upfront, 40%, then 50, then 60, 100%. So you are able then to send invoices to the client for that amount, for the amount at the various stages of the building that you are at. So if your clients want to invoice at delivery points or regular intervals during a project, from the sales tab, expand progress invoicing and switch on create multiple partial invoices from a single estimate, and you will explore this in detail later in this course, right? So you can do this some more. And that's it in terms of setup. So once we set up a new project now the settings are ready to go. So let's look at how to set up a new project from scratch. To begin, you can go to the Project Center in the left navigation menu and select New Project. This opens a window. So once we go in the project name field, enter the name matching the project name to what is being performed could help the entire team can classify expenses better. So we're looking at the naming now. So depending on the third party integration, some clients may find that a number works well, or it may be helpful to include the customer initials as part of the project name. For example, a project for a customer basketball cap could be named the BC Garden Design. So you're going to give the particular project a name by creating a new project. Then once you do that, select a customer from the customer dropdown. This automatically adds the customer email as well as their billing address, shipping address. Further down, these can be changed if needed. So make sure that you have address information recorded for the customer profile. If needed, you can change or add an email specific to this project because sometimes people might have a project but they may want to let that email sent to a separate or project may be at a different location, so then you will get the address of that location so that you can put it in to bill for the project. Okay,
Okay.
you follow it so far?
Yeah.
All right, the next thing we do is enter a start date and end date. Optional. This is optional for projects, and select a project status for the project status from the project status drop down status. So the next thing it gives you is you can state the status of in progress or start or whatever. So you can also add more project details in the notes field. So it gives you a notes field so that if you need to add additional information in the notes, you can. The other thing is that in the billing address section, you can change or add billing details specific to this project. If the shipping address is different from the client billing address, like I said earlier, uncheck the same as billing address box, then enter the correct shipping address details for this project. When you're done, select save. So it gives you the option to, add in a new address for the project if you want to, or use the same address as before, right? Now
Awesome.
we come to converting a project. So far the project section seems interesting, and you could do a lot with that if you work on various projects for businesses and stuff. So converting sub customers to projects as well as setting up new projects, you can convert existing sub-customers to projects. Select each heading to find out more. So how should the sub-customer be set up ready for conversion? So a sub-customer that is to be converted to a project should be active and set to bill the parent customer. It should not be a sub-sub-customer, and it shouldn't have any sub-sub-customers linked to it. So if you want to change a customer to a project, they have to stand alone. They must not be a sub-sub-customer, or they must not have any additional sub-customers linked to them. That is one thing. The other thing is that when what sub-customer information is carried over. So when a sub-customer is converted to a project, only the sub-customer displays name carries over. Address, tax code, and terms revert to the parent customer settings. So this means that the following information isn't transferred. So the address isn't transferred for the project contact, phone number, tax code, terms, or billing and payment and billing information attached.
Yeah.
Okay, so everything reverts back to the customer. And then the final note on this is how do you carry out the conversion? So these are the two places you can start the conversion. They give the same result. from the project center. You can go into the project center and do that, or you can go to the new projects and convert from sub customers. So they have notes here or images here of it. So this is in the project section. And if you select a particular customer, they have a new project, convert from sub customer. You see, so they give you the option there in the top corner, top right hand corner, right? And then there's video tutorials on it if you want to learn more. So then, and then the other way is from the customer tab in the sales center. Select convert now in the pop-up message box. So under a customer name, you could go to a customer and you could select them and then you could say convert. Okay?
Okay.
So those are two ways that you could convert. So viewing projects. So next we're going to look at how to view a project. So one of the big advantages of projects over sub-customers is the dashboard view of the status of all a client's projects as well as more detailed data on each individual project. So how to navigate to that project? So let's begin. So there are 9 steps. So this is the project page overview. I don't have any projects set, but this has a project there. So the main area of the dashboard lists all the client projects with a simple status of each one, current income, cost, and profit margin. So it tells you the income versus cost. So you can see that this project here, you can see my screen good or is small. Okay. So you see the income and then it gives you the profitability, profit margin in percentages. So at a glance, you know how profitable a project is.
Okay.
This means that if a customer makes a prepayment and it's recorded properly as not earned, it won't show up here, right? So the important thing to note too is that note that only the value tied to a profit and loss account shows up here on the dashboard. This means that if the customer makes a prepayment and it's recorded properly as is not earned, it wouldn't show up here. So only transactions or invoices that are for earnings show up here, and the cost only bills if it's under the accrual basis or the cash basis, you will see a figure showing up here. Step 2. So the action column on this, on the right. Okay, just give me 2 minutes. Okay, Stefan?
All right, no
Go.
problem. Action column and where allows you market campaign, market cap, eliminate the project, and delete the project. Selecting the project on the list and I will select to gain more details. Information on more reports on the project cost, expenses, and profitability.
Hello,
Yeah.
you still with me?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right, good. All right, so going back to the note now. So the
Mm-hmm.
action to the action column on the right allows you to enter the information, allows you are the client to edit the project, mark it as completed, mark it as cancelled, and delete the project. Selecting a project from the list enables you to view more detailed information and run reports on the project costs, expenses, and profitability. So in the corner that allows you to do more. So you could click on it, and once you do that, you see that more information is shown. So you see the project name, in progress status, the income and the expenses that have been earned, what's the margin that you earn on it, how much are the open invoices, overdue invoices by customers. So that will tell you what invoices are open and what are overdue. Then it will tell you the income minus expenses and give you a breakdown of the various costs. So this is very good. And then the cost of goods sold as well.
Okay.
So when a project has been selected in the dashboard, you'll see that its detail are organized into 6 tabs. The first tab is the overview tab. So the first tab you have is the overview. Overview is here, transaction, time, project, report, project detail, and attachments. So overview tab is first. And then here you can immediately view the profitability of the project shown as income minus cost. Use the drop down to change the view to be based on hourly cost or payroll expenses. So you can use the drop down here, which has hourly cost, so you could change that to payroll or payroll expenses. The next section you have is the section under income and cost values. Give a more detailed breakdown of how each total is calculated. Select each account, for example, cost of goods sold, to run a report showing all the relevant transactions, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, please.
And then on the 5, the transaction tab, here, which is here, this gives you shows all the transactions associated with the project in one place, and these include any transactions to which the project is assigned, including accounting transactions such as invoices and expenses, and non-accounting transactions such as estimates and purchase orders, and billable and non-billable transactions. You can filter this list for types and dates, so you can see, for example, all open invoices for last month, right? Then in the other one, so you could do that as filters. The filters are here that you could change, but it gives you a breakdown of the invoices or whatever the candidate bills on the time activity. So if any person spend any time on the project, you can also have that here. So for your different accounting jobs as bookkeepers, now we could have a section where we could do like different jobs, different projects we do for persons. We can actually list it this way, put it under a project, and then monitor how it's billed, how we bill our time, and the costs, right?
Yeah.
So the time activity tab provides details of work done on the project. You can drill down to see just who did what and when, how much it costs, and how this affect the project profitability. The view by and group by drop-down change the arrangement of the data. Viewing by service, for example, means the time can be grouped by week, month, employee, enabling you to see how much an employee contributes to the cost of the project, as well as how much a particular service costs. no matter who provides it. So the value in the total cost column comes from the hourly cost assigned to the employees. Data will only be shown here if the client is using time tracking and the hourly cost rate features and time is entered for the project. So once you have that time feature enabled, you will see it. The next thing is the project report. So on the project reports, as we mentioned earlier, there was the profitability, time cost by employee, vendor, on-bill time, and expenses. So the project report tab is the only place you can get detailed project-specific reports, which can quickly provide information and insight to manage a project. You will explore these more in a moment. And the project details tab, which is the next tab here, will give you details about the project, the email, start date, end date, billing address, shipping address, whatever. So view and edit any of the general information about the project. And the attachment tab enables you to store and upload attachments related to the project. Note that attachments related to individual transactions for the project don't appear in this tab. So only the notes and stuff that are related to this project, you would upload it. So if you have any contracts or whatever, you could probably keep them here as well if you want.
Okay.
And then, so that covers viewing the project. The next thing in QuickBooks Online Advance, as the client grows and become more complex, the additional features in the QuickBooks Online Advance plan can support their developing business. In advance, projects have additional functionality, specifically enhanced reporting. So the advanced plan offers additional report features, including the ability to compare estimates versus actual project costs and report across all projects, enable more detailed analysis of project performance, and the workflow automation. With workflow, you can automate common tasks and reminders like reviewing invoices and collecting payments. You can also set up approval workflows for project estimates, invoice, purchase orders, and bills. So those are some of the things that you can do in the advanced features. And this is
Okay.
a tip from one of the persons here who do it, and he says that deleting and undeleting projects. So deleting a project in QuickBooks effectively makes it inactive rather than deleting it completely. The transactions attached to it remain and can still be seen on reports. To delete a project, select Delete from the option drop-down in the Action column. And if you want to undelete, you can do this to go to the list, settings, gear icon, and check Show Deleted Projects and Actions. And to undelete
Mhm.
a project, open the Options drop-down in the Action column, and then choose. The choices are as follow: on delete and mark as not started, on delete and mark as in progress, on delete and mark as complete, or on delete and mark as cancelled. So the best
Mhm.
practice to on delete and mark as complete, so
Okay.
your client can still edit all the transactions. So it's best to leave it on delete and mark as complete. So once you're not using the project anymore, mark it as complete, you know, so
All
that
right.
you will still see it, but you wouldn't be able to change. So check out the following QuickBooks support article on how to video for step-by-step instructions and demos. So this will tell you creating and managing products in QuickBooks. So I could probably share those links with you within the tab that you can learn more about projects, and then we will go from there. You want to
Okay.
see any of the videos or
Okay. if I want to see.
I will share the videos probably for the projects with you. I'll see if we can put them up on the Google Classroom, okay?
All right, no problem.
Assigning income and cost, three ways to add transactions. So we're looking at adding transactions now and assigning costs to your project. So once the project has been created, you can move on to the next task, which is assigning income and costs. So there are three starting points to adding new transactions to projects. This first one is one way is to add the project when creating the transaction in QuickBooks. Just enter the project name in the customer column for the purchase or sale. So when you have under the bill to or customer section, you can add a project here directly in this section. So as you're entering the expense, you can add a project. That is one way. The other way
Huh.
is create a new project,
Mm-hmm.
create a new transaction from the project center. So to create a new project from the project center, select the project from the left navigation menu. Select the relevant project. So you go into the project menu. You got projects here on the left. So you select projects and it will bring up this page so you can add new project. You can click on the add to project, click on then from the add to project drop down, select the right transaction type, whether it's an invoice, receive, payment, expense, whatever. If the client enables purchase orders, this will also appear as an option. So fill out the details for the transaction as normal. And disadvantage of adding a new transaction from the projects is the QuickBooks automatically adds the project name. If the client adds a sales transaction, the name will be in the customer dropdown. If it is a purchase transaction, the name will be in the customer projects column in the category details of the item detail grid, right? So it's just
Yeah.
so you can select any one of these under the project. And number three, assigning a project when so clients can also assign projects when adding transactions in bank feed. To do this, they choose the project name from the customer dropdown. If the client wants to allocate an expense to multiple projects, they should select split and divide the expense among different projects, right? So they have an option too that you can split and add costs to different projects. So if you buy an item, but it's for different locations or different projects, you can split it up, that cost, and assign it to the relevant projects. That is great too, right?
Okay.
And then the final tip is that purchase transactions and estimates should always be recorded using items. Otherwise, they will be presented as unspecified in reports.
Rating.
And I guess we will see that using invoice alongside projects. So check out the support as well. I'll share with you the support links for the resources to see how invoice for customer projects looks and how adding existing invoice to project looks. So probably I could probably try one even as we move into 8 o'clock. Mm, I thought that it was a video, but
Right.
it's just like information for accessing the resource. So adding hourly labor costs to projects. So labor costs are often the biggest component of overall cost for businesses. So it is very important to add labor costs now. So So start by setting the hourly cost rate for an employee. Go to the project center and select hourly costs. Next thing you will do in the cost rate column, add or edit the labor costs for employees. So you will go in and add the cost for employees. Once you do that, when an employee is adding time via a single time activity or weekly timesheet, they should select the project from the customer project drop-down field. They then fill in the other necessary details and save and close.
Okay.
So this is where you add the time, so you know that your name is this. On today's date you work. The cost per hour, you select the project and the service provided,
Go ahead.
and the hours and the time will go in here. Costs were entered by the number of hours from the timesheet. It will show those costs on the project overview, provided that the client has selected the hourly cost view and anytime reports. So that is in terms of setting up using payroll expenses to track labor costs. So there's one where you use the hourly rate, and then there's one that you can use the payroll. So every client is using QuickBooks payroll. Time entered there will transfer to the paycheck and be allocated to the project entered on the timesheet. Payroll expense can also be allocated to projects as employee paychecks are created. So once a paycheck is created, clients can see the actual cost for owning items and tasks by selecting payroll on the overall tab, overview tab, in the project center. So this payroll expense one, we may not use that one because that is linked to payroll and not a lot of persons use payroll in Barbados, but those in the States and Canada and those places will use this feature, right?
Right.
Reporting on projects. So the final step now is the reporting on projects where we will look at. Let's now look at the profitability reports, the time cost by employee or vendor, and unbilled time and expenses. Remember that if the client has the advanced plan and is using projects, there will also be the estimate versus actual reports showing a project profitability by comparing the original estimated cost and income to the actual values, right? So then if we look here, we see that these are the reports that you can view. So once I click on the report, it gives me the outline of how it would look. You see? So the report
Yeah.
is showing me that the project profitability report provides the same details as the profit and loss by customer report, filtered for the project and showing all dates. Notes that it only shows income and expenses, transactions on the and not transactions on the balance sheet. It only shows accounting transactions. So if your client is using hourly costs and isn't using QuickBooks Online Payroll, the project profitability report won't include the cost of the employee time because they are non-accounting transactions. So if you don't include the time, you wouldn't see them here. And then the other one report is the time cost by employee. So this time cost by employee or vendor report breaks down all the costs associated with every employee who has worked on the project. So it gives you a list by so there are two employees that worked on the project, and there's why you're seeing Emily and John and the time that they worked. And then there's the unbilled time and expense report list, all times and expense that still need to be invoiced. So if there are any outstanding times, it will show you those. So then it, they leave here a sample company file for us to give it a shot. You would open the in private window and go through the steps in terms of creating the project. Hmm. So under this window now, we're going to query design and landscaping, and
Hmm.
you realize too that QuickBooks has changed some of the layout for the menu.
Yeah, I was just looking at it not too long ago. Let me see if
Yes.
mine's not the same way as yours.
So then let me just minimize that. So in terms of the task, so this is a task. I'll probably share that with you in the notes so that we can go through so you can convert the ocean view from sub-customer of freedom skirts into a project. Um, so we can go to that customer by either going to the customer tab. And you can either type in or this is it here. So if we go here, we see that the customer here.
I understand what you're saying, but
Okay.
tell me if I go here, I can't
So
see.
if you go here
Mhm.
into the customer, sales by customer, so I went to the sales and customer, and then I look
On
for
my dash,
you can see it
my
now?
dashboard and all yours. I can see what you're doing, but my dashboard
Yeah.
look the same way, the old way.
Okay. So then the other thing is that if you got it right, when you go to the center, so the solution is that you have to go to the advanced section. So let me go back here. So the challenge is to change it from a sub customer to a thing, to a project. So first thing you do is go to the advanced settings section of the account settings and make sure that the project is switched on. So let's go there quickly now.
I can't see what you're clicking on. Okay.
Go to the advanced, and then we go and make sure that it's turned on. So on the projects it's off, so I have to turn it on and save. Right? So once we've gone into projects and turned on that, so then remember the other thing is set to accrual basis under the accounting.
Hmm.
Then if we go to expenses like how they told us earlier, we'll see that all of these are turned on already, so we don't need to turn them on. So done. So now we can go back to the customer tab. So once we go to the customer tab, and we check the name here. We see that we have the options to send out reminders to do various things here with this customer. Make it active, create tasks, and those things. So once we go to the customer, select the and then select edit button. So we're gonna go to the you still here with me?
Yes, I am.
So we're gonna select the customer. We can select the edit option. And once we select the edit option, in the name and contract section, check the box next to bill period. Next to that, you will check the box next to bill parent. Check this box, bill parent customer, and then after that, we select save. And then once that saves, we go back to the customer list and below the money bar, select convert now after the okay, so once we've gone there, we are back here now in the customer tab. We have save is set to under the name section. The bill is there. We go back to the customer tab, and it says if you're merging sub-customers and projects, convert now, and it brings up that one. We select, and right now it will go from being convert into in progress, right? Choose Ocean, the 0969 Ocean View, and select Convert. If necessary, confirm the conversion request. So want to convert here, so we click on Convert. So what it has done now, we've converted a sub-customer to project for you. So we can go to projects now. So now that we've converted the project, you see how it looks now.
Okay.
And then you can go through the various tabs or whatever the case may be. So once we select the project, it's going to bring it up. And then we have the similar options like we said earlier for transactions, for time activity, for project reports, project details, and attachments. So you see, so you just converted a project, a custom sub-customer to a project, right?
Okay.
I haven't moved too fast, everyone follows. I thought you follows.
Yes.
So
Yes,
coming
please.
back to the note now, thank you, Saffron. So we almost reached the end of using projects. So before we move on, we could take a moment to test your understanding. So tell me, in this question one, in what way can you add projects to the project center in QuickBooks Online? Select all the options that apply. You think apply. Is it you create a new project in the project center, batch import into the project center, convert some customers to projects in the project center, select the plus now button from the left hand menu and choose projects, convert some customer to projects from the customer tab in the sales center. Which one?
Okay. Project. Thank you. Number three.
Number three,
Select and choose project. Number three and four.
3 and 4 you selected. But let's see what they said about this earlier. So they said that there are ways that you can do it. So should we convert?
Right, project center. Go to the drop down. You just pass it.
Is to be converted or project should be active? Okay.
Not that one. Just had it
So
though.
it was here viewing projects. So from the project center, there are two places you can start the conversion by. From the project center, go to the drop down next to new project and select convert from sub customer. And then from the customer tab in the sales center, select
Hmm.
convert now in the pop up. So any of those two, so convert sub customers to projects in the project center. Select the plus new button from the left menu and choose
That one, the
projects,
last.
convert projects. So these two, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. That's not right. Create a new project in the thing and then convert the two. So it's these ones. Is this one. So if you show feedback, is the first one, create a new project in the project center, convert some customers to projects from the customer tab in the sales center, and convert some customers to project in the project center. But you can't select projects and you can't batch import directly into
You
this
didn't click the
center.
plus one.
So how should a sub-customer be set up to prepare for conversion to a project? How should a sub-customer be set up? So is it that you keep any sub in place, be active, make inactive, build to parent selected, remove any sub customers, build to parent unselected. So which ones it will be?
Remove any sub customer.
Select all. So how should a sub-customer be set up to prepare for conversion to a project? You said remove sub-customers, yes?
Um, build to parent selected.
Build to parent selected. Any more?
Hold on, let me see. It is below. It claim to pick and
Look better?
men ain't active.
Be active, I believe.
It's to be. Yeah. How's that? But I don't think the got
I
anymore. The
think
got
build
anymore.
appearance are selected. Let's see.
You mean instead of build? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So that was correct. Yeah. Not correct. Build appearance on selected is not correct. So official answer is these three here.
The be active, build to parent selected, and remove the sub. Okay.
Yes. And then a sub-customer is to be converted to a project should not be a sub-sub customer and it shouldn't have any sub-sub customers linked to it. It should be active and set to build a parent customer. Build a parent customer, yeah. So well done. We've completed this section. I would have loved to move on, but this is where we will kind of tie it up today. So in summing up this session, you've done you're done on using projects. Here's a quick recap now. So in terms of looking at that, so advise clients when projects are suitable. So you need to know as the bookkeeper how to advise clients when it's suitable. So understanding what your client wants to achieve in tracking jobs profitability will inform your advice to them on whether they should use sub-customers or projects for this. So the next thing is that a project details. So let me go back and say instantly see profitability. So a project's details are organized into 5 tabs. The first is overview. Here you can immediately view the profitability of the project shown as income minus cost. The selections under the income and cost value give a more detailed breakdown of how each total is calculated. And you link labor costs easily, so it allows you to link a labor cost easily. So projects enable linking hourly labor costs or payroll expenses for hourly costs. Clients must use basic time tracking in QuickBooks or QuickBooks Time or an integrated third-party app in QuickBooks Payroll. Actual earnings and tax costs appear in the project center after paychecks are created. So this is where so this is the third topic that we covered so far. There are two more. There are not two more, there are 5 more under this section. Right?
Play more on
Yeah. But as we go through, you'll get a better understanding of the advanced features in QuickBooks, and you'll be able to tell persons now more information about QuickBooks and how it can manage their books, right?
okay. So try
Mm.
saying that I'm using two QuickBooks. This this would this this a merge or something that everything be for one.
No, you could, if you were using, what you could do is you could invite yourself to the US one. So go to the global one, and you pass the test in, and link that to the US one, or you could do it vice versa. So that, but I will link it to, I will send a link from my US, from my regional one, the first one that you pass the exam into this one. So what you will do is that you will go in and sign in, you know. So you will go and sign in to QuickBooks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you sign in, if you have different accounts, you will see them here. So that is why I have them showing here. But what you will do is that you will go and log in to the QuickBooks. And once you're in, you will add yourself as a team member, right? So you will put in the address for the one that you want to share it with so that you will only need to log into one and you will have access to both. So what you want to do is to make yourself go and select teams, excuse me, select team, and then add yourself as a team member to that account. So that's how I do so that I can access the book. So you don't have to log into all of the accounts but just one, right?
Yeah.
So whichever one you want to be your main one, you will send an invite. You will send the other. You send, do you know the email that you send it for that QuickBooks to use that QuickBooks with? So you will add yourself as a user and you will give yourself full access, right? So you want to add yourself as a user, putting in all the information, and you want to give yourself like standard all access. Or even if you want to, you could probably tell yourself that you are going to be a company admin as well, right? So give yourself full access to the other QuickBooks. So me
Okay.
sending this email to myself, I'm giving myself access, full access to this QuickBook so that when I log in, I don't need to log into both, I just log into one. And when you log in, it will give you a list of all of the QuickBooks that you have to sign into, right? When you do that. All right.
All right.
Yes, no. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. All right, so that is it.
Yeah.
So if there are no questions, we could tie up and start the recording for today.